very good evening. Bringing to you the very latest from around the world and Sri Lanka, this is Primetime News on TV1. I'm Theruni Karunaratna. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight. ₹400 million worth drugs seized in a single day. Multiple weapons and vehicles also seized. Motorcycle rally in support of Ranil flagged off in Colombo. Sirasa faction to put forth presidential candidate despite SLFP internal crisis. Opposition leader reveals how to recover looted assets.
Ratata ahimunu sampat stolen assets recovery. Star වැඩසටහන තුලින් අපේ රටට ලබා ගන්න වැඩසටහන අවංකවම පිරිසිදුවම අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
Vasil meets Indian envoy for talks in Colombo. Vimal exposes government's alleged plan to make the country another colony.
දැන් මේ හදන්නේ සිකීමේ හා සමානව 29 වෙනි ප්‍රාන්තය මෙතන හදන්න.
Anura Kumara in Sweden to muster support. Next IMF tranche likely in June, says State Finance Minister. On to those stories in detail now. The 2024 Basat Sirius Sinhala and Tamil New Year celebration was held in Colombo today. President Ranil Wickremesinghe also attended the event. Under the guidance of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, Presidential Senior Advisor on National Security and President's Chief of Staff Sagala Ratnayaka, along with the President's Secretary Saman Ekanayaka, orchestrated the festivities, collaborating with ministries and governmental bodies. Numerous competitions unfolded across 3 distinct categories: public, open and guest sectors, drawing participants from various provinces of the island. In attendance for the prize-giving ceremony was Speaker Mahinda Apabewardena, state ministers, members of parliament, Chief of Defence Staff General Shavindra Silva, heads of the Tri-Forces, the Inspector General of Police as well as foreign ambassadors, officials of embassies and foreign tourists. President Ranil Wickremesinghe attended the New Year's festival site this afternoon and presented awards to winners in many categories. Police have arrested several suspects under Operation Yuktiya that was conducted island-wide today. 6 people were arrested and a haul of weapons, drugs and vehicles were seized by Sri Lankan police during a raid in Uraliya Madampe. Officers acting on a tip-off stopped a vehicle for inspection and discovered 4 swords and nearly 5 grams of heroin.
ඒ අනුව ඔවුන්ගේ ඒ වාහනේ තුල තිබුණා තවත් ජීවත් බෝම්බයකුත් තිබුණා. මේ සම්බන්ධව පරීක්ෂා කිරීමේදී යම්කිසි අපරාධයකට මේ කණ්ඩායම යන බව තමයි තේරුනේ.
We also found a hand grenade inside the vehicle. Upon investigating further, we realized that they were preparing to commit a crime of some sort. Accordingly, they were arrested. After arresting them, we found 5 grams and 600 milligrams of heroin in their possession. We also realized that they are linked to an underworld leader and that they possess illegal assets as well. When they were interrogated by the police, they could not give a proper explanation either. Police also confiscated 6 motorcycles, 3 backhoes, a van, a lorry, 5 tippers and a tractor. The suspects are 22 to 45 years of age. They are residents of Bingiria, Kirandurukote, Madampe and Gokaralla. Revelations have been made that these people are linked to organized criminal gangs and they have money earned from underworld activities. These activities have also damaged the environment. If they cannot clarify the means of earning the money, we will have to take legal action against them under the Money Laundering Act.
ඔවුන්ට උපයාගත් ආකාරය තහවුරු කරගැනීමට නොහැකි නම් මොවුන්ට එරෙහිව මුදල් විශුද්ධීකරණ පනත යටතේ නඩු පැවරීමට සහ නීති ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීමට කටයුතු කරන බව තමයි හලාවත කොට්ටාශ බාර නිලධාරි මහත්මයා පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් කරේ.
Biyagama police conducted a series of successful raids in Bandaravatta last night, apprehending 3 suspects and seizing a significant amount of illegal drugs. In the first raid, officers apprehended a 31-year-old resident of Bomiriya, Kaduwela, who was found in possession of 15 kilograms and 81 milligrams of ice, 14 kilograms and 527 milligrams of hash, and 941 milligrams of heroin. A separate raid led to the arrest of 2 more suspects, a 31-year-old and a 40-year-old from Kaduwela and Siampalape respectively. They were found to be in possession of smaller quantities of ice totaling 2 grams and 610 milligrams. Police apprehended a 39-year-old woman residing in Aralagangwila. She was in possession of 120 grams of ice. Investigations into these drug trafficking activities are ongoing. Police attached to the Western Province South Crime Division arrested a 45-year-old suspect in possession of more than 7 kilograms of heroin during an operation conducted in Navinna, Maharagama. Police arrested a suspect in Ibbawala, Midikama, carrying 470 grams of heroin and 7 small packs of ice. Authorities identified the suspect as individual known by the name of Devania, allegedly a key operative for Dubai-based kingpin named Ruan. Following the arrest, the suspect was brought before the Mathura Magistrate Court and placed under remand custody. In conjunction with Operation Yuktir, the Balangura Assistant Superintendent of Police led an operation to stop and search vehicles along the Colombo-Badula main road. The operation was launched to nab those transporting illegal drugs along the route. Specially trained police K9 Diana from the K9 unit assisted officers in the search.
4 police officers have been sentenced to life in prison for being involved in an illegal assembly that led to the murder of 8 people. 4 police officers who were attached to the Bharatipuram police station in 1998 were sentenced to life imprisonment by former North Central Province High Court Judge and Kuliapitiya High Court Judge Manoj Thalgodapitiya. The officers were convicted of being part of an illegal assembly that resulted in the deaths by gunfire of 8 unarmed Tamil residents of Bharatipuram village in Kantale. The indictments against the officers, including the officer in charge, a police inspector and 2 sergeants, were filed by the Attorney General for offences committed on or around 30th of January 1998.
When's the election?
Amidst the ongoing political discourse on the election and the presidential candidacy, conversations regarding the May Day rallies organized by the political parties have also entered the frame. Now, many political parties are eager to show their party's power on this day. Many discussions are emerging on the elections, the formation of a new government, and also on the preparations for the May Day. Meanwhile, a motorcycle parade themed Ranilta Idademo commenced from the Gangarame temple in Colombo today.
This motorcycle parade has been organized by the Global Minds Institute, Sri Lanka. Today's parade started under the leadership of the Deputy Leader of the UNP, Ruwan Wijewardhana.
We are working with all factions to unite the entire population of the country on the 1st of May for the idea of building a new country, a smart Sri Lanka. We have a lot to learn from Israel. When Israel was attacked by Hamas, thousands of Israelis came to Israel to show their support. Even the opposition joined. After the May Day, we will also join with the other political parties. Even now, when the president goes to the parliament or presidential secretariat, people are standing in line to join with him. That is why we have to continue to work despite what other people say.
When's the election?
Chairman of the United National Party, Vajirabhevardhana, said the attendees of the United National Party May Day rally are conveying a clear message: the need to safeguard Ranil Wickremesinghe.
After the 1994 May Day rally following Ranasinghe Premadasa's assassination, this will be the most historic UNP May Day rally. The public attending this rally will not be able to come near the stage. However, the crowds will gather in Colombo to convey the message that Ranil Wickremesinghe's safety is vital for the country's safety. I think it is clear to everyone. A country that had fallen has been recovering for the past 2 years. During the dollar crisis, when I said Ranil Wickremesinghe will bring the dollar rate to 250 rupees if he is given the chance, allegations were levelled against me. But it will happen.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට රට බාර දෙන්න. එතුමා ඩොලරය ගෙනේ කියලා 250කට විතර මම දැක්ක මට බයිනවා. ඉතින් ඒක සිදුවේ. ඒ ගැන කලබල නොවී ඉන්න සමස්ත ජාතියම.
Wins the election.
The Kegol youth meeting of the Samaki Jana Balavegya was held today under the chairmanship of opposition leader Sajid Premadasa. Public representatives and youth representatives representing the Kegol district attended the meeting.
When we are sending our mothers and sisters abroad as domestic workers, India is sending their youth abroad for ICT. India is getting $100 billion as annual remittances. Our local and foreign debt itself is around $70 to $80 billion.
ඩොලර් බිලියන 70ක් 80ක් වෙන්නේ. කඳවුරක් තෝරගන්න වෙනවා. අපිට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම
We have to choose a leader definitely. We have to select a program. When we analyze the political parties of the country, it is evident that the Samaki Jana Balavegya is the only party that has worked for the people of the country.
වැඩ කරලා වැඩ පෙන්නලා තියෙන දේශපාලන පක්ෂය සහ දේශපාලන ව්‍යාපාරය තමයි සමගි ජන බලවේගය.
1977
The 1977 election was decided based on the economy. Now the challenge is to build an economy that will suit the future. Our future economy relies on the present youth. The SJB has come with an economic program for the youth. That is a realist program. What have the Porto and Ranil Wickremesinghe done to the future of the youth? They destroyed the future.
ඔහොට්ටුවයි රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා එකතු වෙලා තාරුණ්‍යයේ හෙට මොකද කරේ? හෙට විනාශ කරා.
මේ තමයි 2019 ජනාධිපතිවරණයේදී මේ රටේ තරුණ පරපුරත් සමග අපි අත්සන් කළා.
This is a social contract we entered into with the youth population in the country for the 2019 election. I would like to clearly say that we will enter into a precise contract with the youth population this time as well. We cannot be satisfied with anti-corruption acts. The program to truly eradicate corruption must be implemented as a program that will be carried out for the protection of the constitution. We will take legal action against that one family who looted the money and resources of the country before the law. We will definitely bring them before the law. Not only that, we will recover the assets lost by the country through the Stolen Asset Recovery Star program. We do not associate thieves. We have not entered into any political deal with thieves. We do not ask thieves to raise their hands to protect us. Through the people's mandate, we will push the thieves and also recover the stolen property.
සමස්ත ජනතාව ලබා දෙන ජනවරම තුල නියත වශයෙන්ම හොරුත් අල්ලනවා හොරු හොරා කාපු සම්පත් ටිකත් අපේ රටට නැවතත් වරක් ලබා ගන්නවා.
Wins the election.
Former General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, MP Sarathi Dushmantha Mitrapala, said the SLFP will field a candidate for the upcoming presidential election regardless of the crisis the party is facing. He expressed these views while discussing May Day rally preparations at the Gampaha Municipal Council playground today.
If a presidential election is called, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party will field a candidate. It is the party's responsibility. The party will choose the presidential candidate. We will definitely field a presidential candidate. The SLFP will not support the presidential candidates that are being spoken of at present.
Wins the election.
The National People's Party and the Magen Ratata organisation have entered into a memorandum of understanding aiming the upcoming general election.
At this time, we are fully focused on getting ready for the elections that will result in a large representation in the parliament and to make the necessary influence for good decision making in the country. We are announcing this historic decision today. Today, we have decided that the Magen Ratata organisation has decided to continue our journey with the National People's Party led by Manju Nishankar.
Wins the election.
The Rise Up for Clean Politics public platform organised by the March 12 movement was held in Kegol today. Both government and opposition politicians representing the Kegol district attended the event.
We are now nearing an election. Changes cannot be made to the presidential election in any manner. It is clearly stated in the constitution. It is not an election that the president can change. It is an election declared by the Election Commission. A parliamentary election can be held at any time after the presidential election is held.
Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa held discussions with Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, yesterday. Posting on X, formerly known as Twitter, the Indian High Commission said cordial discussions focused on topics of mutual interest, including political developments. Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara also met with High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, today. Posting on X, the Indian High Commission in Sri Lanka said they held discussions on various projects in the power and energy sectors mutually beneficial to India and Sri Lanka. The National Freedom Front alleges that the government is planning on making Sri Lanka an Indian state. The inaugural seminar titled Indiyanu Deshapalane Lankika Kiyawema, loosely translated to a Sri Lankan reading of Indian politics, organized by the National Freedom Front, took place in Mathura today.
You all know
that there used to be a country called Sikkim many years ago in the 1970s. It was a sovereign state. They held an election in 1973. The country was ruled by a king. When the election was held by the king, there were two main contestants. One was pro-India, the other wasn't. The pro-Indian candidate did not win the election. RAW created a conspiracy and stirred up the public. They claimed that the elections were rigged and demanded that it be held again. Fearing these claims, the elections were held again. The pro-Indian candidate won that election. Only a few months went by and multiple agreements were signed. In 1975, Sikkim ended up becoming the 17th state of India. That candidate who won the election was appointed as the governor of this new state. Later on, the residents of Sikkim realized that they cannot continue to be under India. They decided to unite with China. They sent a resolution to Parliament that Sikkim would join China. Upon hearing such a resolution was to be brought up in Parliament, India immediately halted the supply of oil and electricity to the region. Nothing came out of that resolution either. Sikkim is still a partial colony of India. What the government failed to do using the civil war in Sri Lanka, they are now trying to do using the economic crisis. Instead of finding a solution to the problem, they are going to worsen it. The domestic production sector and domestic agricultural sector have been made to collapse, and Indian products are being promoted. Why did Modi suddenly decide to recommence exports of onions to Sri Lanka? Is it because he loves us? They are preparing to make this India's 29th state. We implore real Sri Lankans to step forward against this, to take the lead. Let us discard corrupt politics and safeguard our nation.
අද මේ රටේ සැබෑ සුජාත දූපතුන්ගෙන් ඉල්ලා හිටනවා ඒ සඳහා පෙරමුණ ගනිමු ඒ වෙනුවෙන් සංවිධානය වෙමු චූන් පාන් දේශපාලනය අලුයමලු කෙලපිලක්සේ පැත්තකට දාලා ජාතියත් ආරක්ෂා කරගන්න පෙළ ගැහෙමු.
The second generation carried out a pamphlet distribution program in Gaul today against government measures to sell state-owned resources.
මේ රටේ සම්පත් විදේශ ගත කරලා දූෂිත පාලකයන් තමන්ගේ බලය තහවුරු කර ගැනීම සඳහා
The corrupt rulers of this country have sacrificed the people of Sri Lanka and are selling off the resources of Sri Lanka to India only to consolidate their powers. They all make their dealings with India. Other countries get to take use of our country's resources. We see no political authority standing up against this either. The second generation led by Undu Vijay Veera is taking the necessary action as a young political party. We will continue to work with the country's citizens and make them understand the gravity of this situation.
රටේ පුරවැසියන් දැනුවත් කරලා රටේ හැම පුරවැසියා එක්කම අපි නැගී සිටින්න ඉදිරියේදී අපි වැඩ කටයුතු.
Leader of the National People's Power, Anurakkumara Dissanayake, who left for Sweden to attend several events including public gatherings, received a warm welcome. Leader of the National People's Power, Anurakkumara Dissanayake, left for Sweden on the 25th of April. He received a warm welcome at the Swedish airport by Sri Lankans residing in Sweden. Dissanayake is scheduled to attend a public gathering in Nacka Aula, Stockholm today, organized by the Swedish Foreign Committee of the National People's Power. The NPP said Anura Kumara Dissanayake will attend several public gatherings and friendly gatherings during his Sweden visit.
Newsfirst with the people.
The State Minister of Finance says that the economy has stabilized and growth is now emerging. The Newsfirst Finance report brings you more of the details.
The Newsfirst Finance Report.
State Minister Semasinghe, posting on X, said that it is important to understand that exchange rates in Sri Lanka are market determined, which allows currency values to adjust according to supply and demand dynamics in the foreign exchange market. He also stated that the strengthening of the Sri Lankan rupee will make purchasing of goods and services cheaper over the period. This will result in increased purchasing power, help reduce inflationary pressures and contribute to price stability and stability in the financial system. Importantly, reduce the burden of debt servicing of the country. State Minister of Finance Shehant Semasinghe says that it is expected that the country will receive the next IMF tranche in June.
We hope
that we will be able to receive this installment within the month of July because we have completed the second review. At the end of that review, we have come to an agreement at the staff level. But in order to transform this agreement into a proposal to get the approval of the executive board, there is one more important thing that we need to complete. The agreement that has been made regarding debt restructuring is basically converted into a memorandum of understanding and reaching some agreement with the private bondholders. We have a strong faith about it. These basic matters that we can complete when we present our proposal to the Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund for the release of the third tranche.
The other, Dipini and I, we climbed onto this ladder. Yes, I think it's a big achievement to the... It really is. Yeah.
TikTok's Chinese parent company ByteDance says it has no intention of selling the business after the United States passed a new law to force it to sell the hugely popular video app or be banned in America. ByteDance doesn't have any plans to sell TikTok, the company posted on its official account on Toutao, a social media platform it owns. Earlier this week, TikTok said it would challenge in court the unconstitutional law. The statement from ByteDance came in response to an article by the technology industry website The Information that said it was exploring the potential sale of TikTok's operation in the US without the algorithm that powers it. Foreign media reports of ByteDance selling TikTok are not true, the company said in the post, which included a screenshot of the article with the Chinese characters meaning false rumor stamped on it. The sell or ban measure was signed into law by US President Joe Biden on Wednesday. Beijing's tightening grip on private companies has raised concerns in the US and other Western countries about how much control the Chinese Communist Party has over ByteDance and the data it holds. TikTok has repeatedly denied claims the Chinese government has control over ByteDance. However, TikTok is not facing an immediate ban in the US. The new law gives ByteDance 9 months to sell the business and an additional 3-month grace period before a potential ban can be enforced. That means the sales deadline would most likely come sometime in 2025 after the winner of the 2024 presidential election takes office.
The Newsfirst Finance Report.
Today is the second day of the third leg of the LOLC Divi Savya program. The aim of the LOLC Divi Savya program is to provide school books and stationery free of charge to government schools with less than 150 students for 1 year. The latest phase of this program took place centering the Nigambo and Minuangoda education zones in the Gampaha district. School books and stationery were distributed to the students of the Nigambo Siddhartha Primary School, Batagama Uttara Roman Catholic Primary School, Lanka Sabha Vidyalaya, Minuangoda Mabodala Mahavidyalaya, Duragare Siriparakum Primary School, Ullalapula Primary School and the Kala Elia Primary School. In addition, students were also provided school books and stationery at the Nigambo and Minuangoda zonal education offices. The LOLC Divisavya program will continue to support the future of the Sri Lankan student population. Positive interactions between India and Pakistan have been few and far between. The growing territorial and political conflicts between the two nations have seeped into the day-to-day lives of both nations' residents. But a recent heartwarming story served to showcase the power of humanity over political and ethnic differences.
This is Ayesha Rashan. She is a 19-year-old girl hailing from Karachi, Pakistan. Ayesha had been suffering from heart disease for the past decade. As her condition deteriorated, doctors recommended a heart transplant to save her life. The cost of surgery was estimated to be 3.5 million Indian rupees. Ayesha's mother simply could not afford the fee. In a bid to sustain her while awaiting a transplant, doctors implanted a left ventricular assist device to help pump blood. That effort too proved futile. Ayesha's condition only deteriorated, necessitating the need for a heart transplant. She visited India with her family with the hope of receiving treatment. According to India's health laws, a foreign national is only able to undergo a transplant if an Indian national does not require any particular organ from a donor. Miraculously, Ayesha received the heart of a 69-year-old Delhi resident who had been declared brain dead. Although it is said that humanity has no racial and religious boundaries, India and Pakistan are two countries that share a history marred with many brutal and dark times. Indian doctors completed this transplant free of charge, saving Ayesha's life in a historic milestone in time. The medical team also connected the family with the Aishwaryam Trust in Chennai, which provided financial assistance. This is what Ayesha's surgeon had to say.
It is because, see, she's a young girl. She could be my daughter. And once you treated them for so long, every life matters. We can't treat the whole world, but certainly we can make a difference to those who come in contact with us.
Filled with hope and gratitude, Ayesha expressed her happiness and thanked the Indian government for their support along with the doctors. Ayesha is leading a healthy life now, an Indian heart beating within her.
How does it feel now after the transplant?
Good, very good.
The death toll from overnight Israeli airstrikes on Rafah and Nuseirat camp have now risen to 15, including 8 children among them. The World Today has more details. 8 Palestinians were killed and 30 wounded on Saturday in an Israeli attack on the Nuseirat refugee camp in central Gaza. It said airstrikes targeted a residential home in the camp on the Sultan neighborhood that killed 4 Palestinians, including a baby. In a separate strike on another house in the camp, 4 additional Palestinians were killed, injuring at least 30 Palestinians. The killings of the 8 children add to a toll of more than 14,500 children killed by Israel during its war on Gaza, representing some 42% of all deaths. The Pentagon says it will rush Patriot air defense missiles and artillery ammunition to Ukraine as part of its new military aid package. Foreign media report that the United States was using $6 billion, which is part of a $60 billion aid package signed into law by US President Joe Biden last week. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has warned Washington will act if China does not stop supplying Russia with items used in its assault on Ukraine.
What China is doing, or what some of its enterprises are doing, is to provide critical components for Russia's defense industrial base. Those are being used to help Russia on what's an extraordinary crash course effort to make more munitions, tanks, armored vehicles, missiles. And the actions that Russia's taken are going at a pace unlike any we've seen in its modern history, including the Soviet Union during the Cold War. And this could not be happening without the support that China's providing. 70% of the machine tools that Russia is getting from abroad coming from China, 90% of the microelectronics. So we've been very clear that this is doing two things. It's helping Russia perpetuate its aggression against Ukraine, but it's also creating a growing threat to Europe because of Russia's aggression. So for China, if it wants to have better relations, not only with us, but with countries in Europe, it can't do that while at the same time helping to fuel the biggest threat to European security since the end of the Cold War. We've taken action already against Chinese entities that are engaged in this. And what I made clear today is that if China won't act, we will.
Joe Biden says that he is ready to face off against his White House challenger Donald Trump in a presidential debate, with the Republican ensnared in multiple criminal cases proposing to hold the verbal duel at a New York courthouse without delay. Candidate debates have been important milestones in US presidential elections for decades, helping make or break the voters' opinions on the contestants' personal style and demeanor as much as their policy chops. Responding to Biden, Donald Trump proposed holding the debate either at his campaign rallies in the Midwestern state of Michigan the coming week. The 2024 United States presidential election will be the 60th quadrennial presidential election and is set to be held on Tuesday, the 5th of November 2024. The fourth day of testimony in former US President Donald Trump's New York hush money trial has concluded, with former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker facing several hours of cross-examination by Trump's legal team. Pecker answered more questions on Friday about what he has testified as a catch-and-kill scheme to suppress damaging information about Trump in the lead-up to the 2016 US presidential elections. Two other witnesses followed Pecker as prosecutors built the foundation of their case involving hush money payment to adult movie star Stormy Daniels, who claimed she had a sexual encounter with Trump. The Battle of the Golden Blues between St. Joseph Vaz College in Benapur and St. Anthony's College in Battala ended in a draw today.
The inaugural Battle of the Golden Blues took place at the Pisara Oval Grounds in Colombo. Batting first, St. Anthony's College Wattala was bowled out for 236 runs. Amita Sandeepa scored an unbeaten 118 runs. St. Joseph Vaz College Vinapur was bowled out for 183 runs during their first innings. Tamish Fernando scored 59 runs. Amita Sandeepa bagged 7 wickets for 51 runs. St. Anthony's College Wattala, playing their second innings, were on 13 for the loss of 2 wickets at the end of the match.
And with that, we wrap up this Saturday's edition of Primetime News on TV1. Thank you for watching, take care and good night.